It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and happy holidays. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. This is another exciting episode we have of the interview series. Joining us this week, we have podcaster, host, producer extraordinaire. He is one and only Brandon Troy. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hello, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being with us. So to kind of start things off here, Brandon, what were some of your favorite movies or TV series growing up?
Well, it's funny, thinking about a lot of the movies that, and then I'm going to end up aging myself, I suppose, but it's weird thinking about all the films that I grew up watching. The first film that I ever saw in a theater was the '89 Batman. And it's kind of weird, like thinking back on it, like, wow, I was really, deeply embedded into geekdom and nerddom when it came to my choice of films. I mean, obviously I'm pretty diverse in terms of my love for films and the types of films I see, but it's just funny that was actually the very first film that I saw.
That's a great pick. And as to date myself a little bit here, I also grew up watching Tim Burton's 1989 Batman. And still to this day, I cannot get enough of it. I love it to pieces. I can quote it endlessly. I just smile every time certain scenes occur on the screen during the course of the movie. And to let our audience know, for those of you who are joining us live, if you have any questions for our guest, Brandon, you can drop them in the live chat. We're going to be monitoring that as we go throughout the course of the show. We will save those questions for the end of the show, so just keep that in mind as we roll along. But good choice there with some DC love for The Dark Knight there, Brandon. Nice stuff. Got to give you credit where credit is due. So what made you decide to become a host, a podcaster, if you will? What brought that on?
I would say it was pretty serendipitous. So in terms of what I had done as a youngster, I did a lot of acting as a youngster. And, as I got older, got into high school, had an opportunity to do a lot more things behind the camera and participate in a lot of programs that dealt with doing editing and doing directing and writing and scripting and all of that. So, I've been fortunate in terms of programs that I've had an opportunity to do growing up that have allowed me to kind of branch out and be more well-versed in terms of skill set. So obviously on the acting end, that helps because it allows you to be able to kind of go with things on the fly and being able to improvise when needed. However, it's nice to also have that skill set of being able to edit, because without that piece, without that component, it's pretty difficult to be able to do any type of content creation, which I'm sure you will know. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what would you say are some of the rewards of being a podcaster?
I would say just in general, just that idea of being able to share a given idea to someone who may not otherwise know anything about it. It's always, great when I have a guest on or am shining a light on a particular industry, a particular concentration of an industry, and always having someone comment on saying like, thanks so much for bringing this guest on. Now I'm actually going to look into it because like I wasn't even aware that this was something that was a thing. Especially in the entertainment industry, we have a lot of facets of it that obviously, get a lot of light shined upon it and get a lot of publicity. But I mean, we have components of the industry that are very, very important and very vital to all facets of the industry. One that comes to mind, thinking of composers, thinking of sound folks, folks that are behind the camera that play such a vital role in the movie going experience, or even in the experience of what you see on TV that you kind of take for granted. I would challenge anyone to take a look at any of their favorite shows or any of their favorite films and try to watch it without its music, try to watch it without its score, and kind of notice how empty or how naked it seems without having that component in there to kind of, it's funny how strong music can play and how you feel about something. Thinking about superheroes, we have superhero themes. When you hear it, you know exactly who that character is or who they are shining that light on in terms of that moment. So all of that stuff is awesome.
100%. Definitely agree with that. Now, on the flip side of things, what would you say have been some of the challenges in being a podcaster?
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's more in terms of, initially just coming to a decision of what niche you want to focus on. And like I said, you can probably attest to this too. There's probably going to be a lot of through line in terms of, or mirroring of what you're hearing or what you are probably feeling, but just that idea of finding that niche, because there's so much out there in terms of content, and making sure that what you have in terms of that niche is something that is not out there, that is providing, a unique voice that is otherwise not being highlighted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have there been any special memories from your show that you've done, from the shows that you've done so far, or meeting other people at certain events or conventions in past years?
Sure, yeah. So I would say probably with a lot of the festivals that I typically cover on an annual basis, and even with cons too, and in a similar way that you would find if you're in school, just that idea of revisiting that particular event and seeing, perhaps when you first went to the event, that person that was your point of contact, maybe they started off as a junior publicist. Now they are the main point of contact. Now they are the PR manager. Now they are the showrunner. Like, just noticing the evolution and appreciating the evolution of a lot of shows that you do that were probably at their grassroots component, and seeing how they grow and evolve and expand have been really interesting. We have a con that's local here, and I'm perhaps you've been to it because I know you're relatively local to where I am on this side of the U.S. is Awesome Con.
Yes, the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so Awesome Con is. I went to the very first Awesome Con, and I remember how intimate and small it is. But anyone who's gone recently will tell you that it is no longer intimate and small. So it's been interesting to see that show kind of explode and become among those larger shows within the stratosphere of cons that we have here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. For me, from where I was, I've been to several Awesome Cons, and I got to tell you, it feels like it's 10 football fields long. That place is just massive. It's insane how many vendors, how many celebrities, how many artists and cosplayers have all booths, and they have tables, and they're doing all these incredible things. Don't get me wrong. I admire the creativity, but my goodness, 10 football fields long. After the first few hours, your feet are just dead tired. You're like,
yeah.
Why do you have to make this so cool, but yet so much? It takes a toll on you. It really does.
Well, I will say this. I kind of leaped into the fire relatively early. My first con was San Diego. So,
my goodness.
In terms of being exposed to other cons, it's been interesting to see how big of a difference it is. In one respect, it obviously was very overwhelming to go that first year to San Diego because there's so much to do. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's it was interesting because in comparing it to other shows that I've been to, obviously it's been a fascinating journey of saying, oh, okay, so like I can walk, around and not be shoulder to shoulder with people. Oh, okay, I can, go to a panel and not, have a situation. I'm not in that position as much anymore, but the first couple of years, not going as a member of the media and going as an attendee, being in those like crazy lines for a lot of the programming. So.
Man, San Diego. I have not been to San Diego Comic-Con personally, but it is on my bucket list. So we'll see how things roll in the next number of years. Is there one or two, maybe even three celebrities that you were very excited to either interview or meet up with at certain events?
Oh gosh, let me see. So I've been fortunate where I've had a chance to speak to a lot of folks from a lot of fandoms that I have, and so I guess on the anime end, thinking of like voice actors with like Dragon Ball Z, being fortunate to speak to Chris Sabat, who does Vegeta, obviously, Frieza. Brain farting on his name right now. I believe his name's also Chris, but he's the voice of Frieza as well as the producer of that show who does the voice of Piccolo. That was a surreal moment, having an opportunity to speak to them, and it's memorable because going back to what I was talking about with Comic-Con, the venue in which we did it was surreal, and then just the idea of wow, like I grew up watching this series, and now I'm actually speaking to the voice of a lot of these people. Sometimes you have a lot of those like pinch yourself moments where it's like, wow, I did not in a million years, feel that I would be in this moment. So talking on the venue, that was actually, it was during it was at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was for the promotion of Resurrection F a couple of years ago, and they had it at Petco Park. So we actually did the interviews at Petco Park, which was like across the street from the convention center. So I would say that there have been a couple of instances on red carpets that have been cool of being able to speak to various folks, whether it's been, I'm trying to brain fart. So William Shatner, or some of the folks that I'm thinking of offhand, or even in moderating opportunities. So being able to moderate a panel for I feel bad. I'm brain farting his name too. He Nolan North. For Nolan North, being able to moderate his panel, being able to moderate, the panel for Gotham, and being able to speak with them about the end of the series. So, I've had some great opportunities. There's so many. It's kind of hard to really narrow down like the best ones, because there have just been, a bunch of them that I can probably, name offhand that have been pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you go to one con, that's one thing, but when you go to a number of cons over a course of number of years, there's a lot of interactions that you have, and some stand out a little bit more so than others. So I completely understand that. Now, when it comes to certain fandoms, as fans, as geeks, as nerds, we all have collectibles in our personal collection, our collection room, if you want to call it that. Whatever. I'm just spitballing here. But when it comes to certain collectibles and stuff, is there a certain fandom that you have more collectibles of than another? Is there a certain fandom that you just love collecting certain items from?
No, not necessarily. I would say it's more. I value how unique that particular item is in that moment. So and collecting Funkos, I would say that's probably my only guilty pleasure, is getting Funkos. And a lot of times we have some pretty crazy, weird ones that are out there. So I would say the ones that are like pretty like crazy and weird, and something that would seem as if it would be one that if I don't purchase it then and there, I probably will never see again. I feel entitled to buy one.
All right, all right. You don't
So
want to
like,
miss
give me
any
an example.
opportunities. You want to strike while the iron is hot.
Right. So, like, give me an example. I mean, I have ones that are from all over the place of pop culture. So, like, I have ones for film, ones for games, ones for music. Like, I have a Prince one, and I was like, when am I gonna find another Prince Funko? Like, and he has like the triple sunglass is on the figure. I was like, oh yeah, I need to get this one. I don't think I'm ever gonna find anything like this if I don't get it now. So.
Very, very unique. Very unique. Yeah. Yes, I know a number of individuals who have several, if not hundreds, of Funko Pops within their collection. Now, granted, I have some of myself. I don't have quite as many as some others do, but then again, it's never been a competition. And plus, who's counting?
Sure.
So we can always we can always keep that in mind when it comes to certain things. We're talking with Brandon Troy here, a podcaster, a host, and producer. If you have any questions for him, we're going to save those questions for the end of the show. So feel free to drop them in the live chat. We're going to be monitoring that as you go throughout the course of today's show. So feel free to keep that in mind. Boy, once you mention the word collectibles, boy, we could just talk about that all day. Let me just put it to you that way for those of you who are watching us at home. Now, the next thing I have for you here, Brandon, what are some of your plans for your podcast moving forward? You know, are you going to keep it, strictly on the internet side of things? Once Earth reopens safely and we're all able to be around each other again, what's the first convention is on your mind? I mean, where do you want to take the Movers and Shakers Unlimited?
That's a good question. Initially, it was for TV, and that may still end up being the case. The policies that we had was on Cox Cable. So, I mean, who knows? Like, I feel like if you try to pigeonhole yourself into saying, "Oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z," that it will kind of limit you creatively. And what I found is when I've been forced to pivot in terms of the situation, even now doing more virtual content, it's open doors for other opportunities too. So I just try to think of some creative ways to get the content out to the folks that subscribe to our website, and try to provide it in a way that is informative and interesting. I mean, that's probably the two things that I really focus on outside of anything else.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. And we wish you the best of luck with those plans moving forward, even though we're all in the midst of a pandemic. Hopefully it'll end sooner rather than later, so we can get back onto the field and get back to going to conventions and seeing our friends, our families, and certain celebrities that we've been chopping at the bit, as it were, to meet at conventions, because conventions are just freaking amazing. But
yes,
as we can, and as I'm sure a number of our audience members and the two of us here can attest to. So to kind of flip things on its head a little bit here, just for a moment here, Brandon, have you ever worn clothing with the labels or the tags still attached?
I probably I'm wearing one right now. I don't have the tag on it currently, but a lot of times with my caps, I'll still have the initial maybe not the hang tag on it, but I'll still have like the stickers that they normally have on it. Excuse me.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. And what would you say, what would be the worst movie sequel ever made?
Ooh. I would say, I would put it this way. Most films, when I'm thinking of just the trend of sequels and franchises, I have yet to see, I could probably name great trilogies on my hand versus trilogies that have been really good. So normally, that second film is terrific. And I feel like a lot of times a franchise might rest on its laurels because they really expanded and improved upon the original, but they kind of fall flat once that third installment comes around. So I'll put it this way. As I said, there are very few trilogies that work. Captain America is a pretty good trilogy. Thinking of a few others, and I'll probably get flack for this, but hey, it's how I feel about it. Die Hard, I do enjoy the trilogy of Die Hard. I enjoy the trilogy of Scream. So like, and that's not even a popular one that a lot of people say that they enjoy as a package. So, but yeah, I would just say just generally, just trend wise, that's what I've come across. I'm typically leery, or I should say leery, but weary of there being third installments to franchise because they're few and far between that actually work.
I see. I see. All right, kind of working your way around that. Didn't want to necessarily name any sequels that have been horrible, but saying that certain franchises are a bit balanced more so than others.
Absolutely.
I could see that. I could see that. Real quick side note about Scream. I like Scream 1 and 4, but 2 and 3 I can go without.
Okay, fair.
Honestly, like
fair.
2 and 3 are just like, 1 was a trendsetter, and then when 4
Yes.
was technically a reboot, they still brought back the original cast, and I'm like, this is a darn good film. Like I expected this to be good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. But that's just my 2 cents on the Scream franchise. Some people will defend all 3 installments and kind of pretend that the 4th one never happened. But then again, depends on who you ask and what day of the week it is.
Yeah, but no, I'm pretty. I stick by my trilogy with Scream 4. I'm a little weary on, and don't get me wrong, you know, they're fourth installments that I enjoy a great deal, and you know, in going into them, I was a little skeptical of like, oh, here we go. Like Rambo was like that, but that fourth Rambo, I like. That fourth Die Hard, I like. So I mean, despite the fact that it is it wasn't rated R, and they watered it down to PG-13 in terms of the set pieces and what I expect out of that franchise. Like when I went in, I wasn't expecting to enjoy them at all, and they hold a special place for me. Those fourth installments.
Okay, I can see that. Now by the way, there is an actual R-rated extended cut of Live Free or Die Hard. So there is the 13 cut, but there's also the R-rated.
So theatrical cut.
Yeah, there's a theatrical cut of PG-13, and then there's the unrated R-rated cut that actually does contain a little bit more violence and a little bit more maybe F-bombs. So if anyone's interested, feel free to look it up. It is online somewhere, or you can get it off Amazon or some other streaming service. I'm sure it's somewhere around here. You never know what you're going to find on the web. That could go in a couple of different directions. But anyhow, how about this? Which celebrity chef would you most like to make you dinner?
Ooh. Ooh, that's tricky. I guess maybe. So maybe Bobby Flay, because I enjoy most of the dishes that he makes.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few others, but again, I'm brain farting on who on their names. But you know, there are some great ones out there. I have to call myself out. I maybe watch a couple of shows here and there in terms of my viewage. A lot of it's like I'm trying to think the Donner Show. I'm not sure if it even still comes on, but it's basically like a breakdown of like hole in the wall places and various diners like across the country, and them talking about perhaps a particular dish, maybe who makes like the best hot dogs or who makes the best burgers, and they'll go across the country with diners and inns and various hole in the wall places. So.
Okay. All right. Interesting names, interesting answers. No worries here. Any upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
There are some fun ones coming up. So I will say this, for a lot of the fandoms that a lot of people enjoy film-wise, there are some fun ones coming up. There is in the near future, I guess I can say it now, they'll be doing a panel, and I believe you're actually a part of the event as well. So Harlequin, there'll be a panel happening on Saturday that me and a few others will be a part of, dealing with Arkham Asylum, which should be a lot of fun. So, make sure you're there. And then outside of that, as I said, there are some fun things coming up, but I'm gonna hold them close to the vest because it'll be way more enjoyable, springing it upon you guys versus revealing them right now.
All right. So it's fair to say the holiday season is not over, and there are plenty of special gifts for our audiences still to come.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a positive thing to keep in mind as we roll along. We want to take this opportunity to thank Brandon Troy for being with us here this week as a guest on our interview series. Now, Brandon, before we go, where can everyone find you on social media and everything you have coming up?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. We do a lot of live streams on the Movers and Shakers page. So Move and Shake UNLTD on Facebook. On YouTube, we basically do encore episodes of our live stream, so you can find repeat episodes there. However, we put some of our panels and other content that perhaps we don't typically live stream. You can also find on the YouTube channel. You can find us on Twitter at Move and Shake UNLTD, on Instagram at Movers Shakers Unlimited, and you can find me, Brandon Troy ENT, on Twitter, and Brandon Troy underscore ENT on Instagram. We are on track right now to hit 4K, so road to 4K. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you enjoy a lot of the content, make sure you invite others to like it as well. And as I said, this weekend we will be doing a panel for Arkham Asylum, talking about different villain psychosis. It will be at 5 o'clock with Harlequin.
All right, that is amazing. Well, once again, thank you very much, Brandon Troy, for being here. My name is Ryan of Neuroculture. You can follow everything we're doing. Me. Yeah, definitely, and thanks for being with us. And my name is Ryan of Neuroculture. You can find me and everything that we're doing here on the channel, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Neuroculture. New videos are dropping each and every week on our YouTube channel, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And if you're wondering, where did those questions that Ryan was asking about come from? About a chef cooking someone dinner, or if you were gonna, meet up with someone or do this, or that. Well, I'll tell you where they came from. Pod decks. Pod decks are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, ask a question, let the content roll. Get yours today at poddecks.com, and make sure you use promo code NerdCulture to get 10% off your order. That is poddecks.com. Use promo code NerdCulture to get 10% off your order. These cards are awesome-tacular. You will not be disappointed. In the meantime, to everyone out there, thank you all for watching us live and sharing this with your family, your friends, your coworkers. Don't forget, stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong, happy holidays, and watch movies.